guys, I'm Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going over some reading goals that I have for 2023 and plus I guess stuff that reading goals that I accomplished for 2022. I guess we'll just go over that as well. I don't really have much to say. I ended up, according to my Goodreads, my original Goodreads goal for 2022 was 100 books. Then when I reached that, I jumped it to 150 books and then I didn't change it after that. And I ended up reading like 203 books last year. Some of them were kind of duplicates because there were like some short stories that if they were included in sets but they had separate reviews, I put a review on that. So there's a little bit of overlap there, so it's probably a little less than that, but somewhere around 200 books. I wasn't really planning on reading that many, but you know, it just worked out that way. So yeah, and that's pretty much the only other goals I had for reading that I can remember because I didn't bring that part of the notebook up. I do know I wanted to read an ebook a month, and I did manage that. I think there was only like 1 or 2 months where I missed that, and I did get into the habit then of the last few months of the year. I got into the habit of when I finished reading an ebook, I would pick up another one and just keep kind of the cycle going. And that seems to have worked really well for me because like the last few months of the year, I read like several ebooks in a month. So yeah, that seems to be working really well, especially when I have like art copies on top of just regular books I buy. And yeah, I'm just getting through them a little bit faster, which, you know, is a good thing considering I keep collecting them, even though I don't read ebooks that quickly. But, you know, yeah, it's a good way to try authors and stuff that, you know, may not want to spend 15 bucks for a book or whatever. So yeah, and I think also one of my goals was to reread a book a month. I think I reasonably kept up with this. I don't know if I'll still do that. I have it as a goal for 2023 to keep doing that, but yeah, I don't know. We'll just see how it goes. I mean, none of these goals are hard and fast that I'm going to be doing for 2023. I guess we'll just jump into that because that's pretty much the only wrap up I have of reading goals for 2022. I will be doing a video sometime this month of my favorite books from 2022, but yeah, I don't have that today. So yeah, we're just going over now the 2020 reading goals. I have set my Goodreads goal for 100 again. It's kind of just a standard I go for. Yeah, I can usually easily reach that. I don't really push myself to do it. It's just, you know, I read and it shows up that way. So yeah, it's just a number I set for it. Also, I have reread a book a month. I don't know if I will do that consistently. I may not. It depends because I found rereading sometimes didn't really work for me last year. Sometimes, because it used to, last year I set it for like reread either a book or a series a month. I nixed the whole series thing, but yeah, because that got way too tedious, especially to do in 1 month. But I do like rereading books, and then I also do it to like determine with certain books if I want to keep them or not, if I own them, so on and so forth. So yeah, I will probably do that, but we'll see. I may end up like rereading more in 1 month than another. Like I said, there's no hard and fast rules, and I'd like to read at least 1 ebook a month. So, but yeah, like I said with that one, I'll probably just read one and then pick up another one and then just keep the cycle going, because then that just gets me in the habit of doing it. So it makes it easier. Yeah, those are my general reading goals. I also want to do, I did it last year. I read in the month of my birthday, which for my case it's August. For my birthday month, I read a series, an old childhood favorite series that I really liked in my birthday month last year, and that was the Horse Angel series by Angela Dorsey. I'm going to continue that tradition this year as well, and the series I picked because I have some very specific books that I want to reread or start or whatever, so we're just going to get into that now. And that specific birthday month book, I'm going to be trying to read the Phantom Stallion Wild Horse Island series. It's an 11-book series by Terry Farley. It's like a middle grade horse adventure series set in Hawaii. It was a really, really big favorite of mine when I was younger, and yeah, I just want to read them. I also like doing it so I can put up reviews for the books because I just really like reviewing them and putting them up on Goodreads so that other people can, you know, decide if they want to read them or not. And I just like doing that, so yeah. That is definitely another goal, but yeah, I want to reread those. I will also not be really showing any pictures or the books themselves that I'm talking about. I'm just listing the titles here. All of these books either I have read or are on my want to read list. So like if you follow me on Goodreads or something, you could just type in the book and you'll probably find it with my name under it, or look under potentially any of the bookshelves I have for like genres and stuff. They're probably under there, but yeah, I'm not getting into any specifics like that because most likely you'll be seeing these throughout the year. So yeah, this is just kind of my list of them, and it's easier for me to not pull out all these books from wherever they might be living in my life, or not at all if I have to get them from the library. Okay, so I have some specific rereads I want to try to get to. There's 12 of them, so basically for most of these there's 12, so it's like theoretically I'd do like one a month. Like I said, I'll probably end up doing either more or less on certain months. Depends on how I'm feeling at the time. So some of the specific rereads I have is to reread King of the Wind, which is another favorite horse book of mine. It's a classic by Marguerite Henry. I also want to try to reread the Percy Jackson and Heroes of Olympus series. Those are two separate series by Rick Riordan. I really like Percy Jackson. When I read him at the time, I really liked Heroes of Olympus, except for the last book. I did not like the last book. I'm wondering if my opinion will have changed on either of those series now, but Percy Jackson probably not. I do really like that series, but yeah, a lot of these I'm just seeing if I still like them. So another standalone I want to reread, a classic, is A Little Princess. I really, really enjoyed that one. Let's see, Transitions, which is I forget the author's name. Jane something? I have no idea. I am blanking on that author's name. But this is another horse book that was run by the Pony Book Club from Stappenfeld that I was once a part of, but I read a lot of these books when I was younger, and I don't remember much about it. I do know it has to deal with a particular character that has cancer, but yeah. Wild Blue, which is another horse book. Wild Horse Summer. A lot of these are older horse books that I read when I was younger. I just kind of like to revisit them and then, see if they live up to how I used to like them back in the day or whatever. Back in the day, I sound so old. Ugh. Okay. Anyways, and the other books that are not really horse books, but that I want to try to get to is Warriors Against the Storm. This is a short story anthology. I'm pretty sure I read it last year, in 2022. But if the feeling hits, I would still like to read that one. To Court a Queen, which is actually right here, so I can show this one. To Court a Queen by H.L. Burke. I really, really enjoyed this novella. I know it would probably not be for everyone, but I really enjoy it, and I just want to revisit this one again. Also, the Blades of Akhtar series. I do want to reread that one and write proper reviews for them. And the Out of Time series, which you can see here by Nadine Brandes. I actually have reread Fox and Romanov in 2022, and I also read Wishtress for the first time because that's when it was published. So literally the only series of hers I have not reread is the Out of Time series, so I'll just grab them. That ended in disaster. I didn't realize my bookmarks were up there. This is the third book, so that was fun. But yeah, I do want to reread this one and just see my opinions on it, because I know I wasn't a fan of the first book in that series, but I did like 2 and 3. But I read these a while ago. I think I read this one when it first came out. So yeah, I do want to reread that one, and I'll fix my bookmark pile here in a minute or later. And the last series I do want to reread is, this was a last minute add-in, is the Ilion Chronicles, because the 6th and final book of that series is coming out February 17th of this year. So yeah, very excited for that, and I just wanted to refresh myself on the series before I read that one, and also just put some proper reviews on Goodreads for them. I will probably not get to rereading these before February 17th, but then again, I'll probably be waiting for that book to come out in paperback, because that's when its the ebook is being released, is on February 17th. I'm not sure if the paperback's being released the same day. So yeah, I would be waiting for the paperback to show up anyways. And that's kind of my specific reread list. Obviously, if I want to reread something else that's not on this list, I'm going to anyways. This is just a general guideline of things I would like to get to. So the only one of this list that does not have 12 on it is the specific manga I want to try to read. This year, obviously, in 2023, I will be continuing to read Yona of the Dawn as they come out because it's my favorite manga series, and that one's still ongoing. The other one I will be finishing that I didn't finish last year because the library delayed in getting the next volume to me is Fiancé of the Wizard. I mentioned it in one of my recent reads wrap-ups. There's 2 more volumes in that one that I have not read, and I'm just waiting on the person who has the 3rd volume checked out ahead of me for that one to come in, and I will be finishing that one. So yeah, pretty much Yona is just ongoing until that series ends. And yeah, Fiancé of the Wizard, I just have 2 more. But aside from those 2, I do have 5 other manga series I do want to try. Like I said, with the rereads, if I want to try something else, I will. But these are just the specific ones I want to try. The first one's going to sound very controversial, and that is Demon Slayer. Demon is not the way you think it is. From what I've heard of this series, it's more the demons are more like vampires. So yeah, like the translation of the word from Japanese into English is more related to vampires than demons, though I would argue as Christians we're technically supposed to be demon slayers too, so you know, make of that what you will. But I do want to try that series. I know it's a slightly darker series, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I do want to try it. Another one is Fairy Tail. I know this is a fairly popular series. I've seen a few episodes of the anime, and it got me curious about it. The only thing with this one, I will probably not end up, even if I do like it, I will probably end up not finishing this series this year because there's like 63 volumes, which isn't a bad thing, but my library does not have all of them. I think they stop somewhere around 20-something in order, and then they have like sporadic ones in between of like the later 20s and the 30s and stuff, so I don't think they have the complete series. So I may just end up stopping that one when I get to a certain point due to the fact that they don't have it. So, but I would think 20-some volumes in would give me a pretty good idea of if I like it or not. So, yeah, we'll see about that one. The next one is The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. I have heard this series is rather dark. I have never played any of the, like, Legend of Zelda video games. I'm not really a video game type person. But it is kind of like a darker fantasy series. Like I said, with like with Demon Slayer, if it's too dark, I'll probably drop it. But I know it's a shorter series. I'm not even actually sure if it's completed. It might still be ongoing. I'm not sure. I do know Fairy Tail and Demon Slayer are complete. So that's nice. And the next 2 series that I have on this list are complete as well. And one of them is Full Metal Alchemist. I honestly don't know much about it. I just know my friend Laura read it last year and she really, really enjoyed it, and I trust her recommendations, so I'll be trying that one. I know it's fairly popular. It has an anime that's really popular, so I guess it's kind of like a classic manga. I'm not really sure. I'm still pretty new to all the manga stuff. And the last one I have on my list is Haikyuu, which is a volleyball sports manga. Also, this is my friend Laura, also, this is her favorite series, so since she tried my favorite series, which is Yona, last year, I really want to read this one this year. So yeah, those are the specific manga series I want to try. And then I have some specific new books. These are ones I pulled from my want to read list on Goodreads. Most of these I will probably be getting from the library, unless I find them like in thrift stores or whatever. And the first one is Thorn by Intisar Khani. I'm not sure how you say the author's name. It is a Goose Girl retelling, because I think the author's, I think she might be Middle Eastern. I'm not sure how to say her name, and I don't really want to butcher it. But I do know Thorn is it's a retelling, fairy tale retelling of the Goose Girl. I got it out from the library last year, but I never got around to it, so I never read it. But I do want to try to get to that one. I also want to try The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. This is the first book in the Stormlight Archive series, and all the books are like 1,000+ pages. And I have to get the first one from the library, and there's like 1 copy in the whole library system. Because either the other ones have been lost, or they're damaged, I don't know, but That one intimidates me more just because I would have to read it quickly, because if somebody else has a hold on it, I only have like 4 weeks to read it. 1,000+ page book, so I don't know when I'll get to that one, but I do want to at least try it and see if I would like it, because if not, I can then not keep Oathbringer, which I happen to own the 3rd book, so, you know. Okay, another one I want to try is You've Reached Sam by Dustin Tao, I believe is how you say his last name. It's a YA contemporary. I also want to try Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. Yeah, mainly just to see what I think about it. I have heard so much about Twilight and just like the pros and cons of it and just how people hate it and people love it, and I'm just curious to see my own opinion on it, kind of like how I was curious to see my own opinion on Harry Potter. That's why I read the series. I ended up liking that series. I'm not sure if Twilight's gonna end up in that same realm just because of the things I know about it, but yeah, I do want to try it. I also want to try the Delusion series by Laura Gallier. This is like a Christian supernatural, and I really like spiritual warfare type stories. I also want to read The Ranger's Apprentice, The Early Years by John Flanagan. This is like I think it's like a prequel series to The Ranger's Apprentice. I think it might follow Halt and his mentor. I'm not really sure. There's only 2 books though, and I read Ranger's Apprentice several years ago. I think I started reading those before I started BookTube. So yeah, and I really enjoyed most of those books. Pretty much all of them. There were a few that I didn't really care for, but so yeah, I do want to try that series. I also have My Lady Jane. It's by 3 different authors. It's like a humorous retelling of Lady Jane Grey, I think it is. So yeah, I do want to try that one. Also, The Dream Runners by an author whose name I also cannot say. I believe that's Middle Eastern too. This series I have noticed on like Goodreads and stuff has a pretty low rating, but the cover looks cool and the concept sounds neat. I think it's something about like dreams are ferreted between people and then there's like a corrupt thing and something. I don't know. It sounded interesting. I also want to try the Timeless Fairy Tale series by K.M. Shia. She is pretty much one of my new favorite authors now, and I just really want to try all of her books, but this is the specific series I want to try next year, or this year. It's not next year, it's this year. Okay. Also, I also have Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. That's the young adult sci-fi, you've probably heard about it. And Caraval by Stephanie Garber. I've heard a ton about this series ever since it came out, and I'm just curious. And one other series is the Becoming Beauty trilogy by Brittany Fitzgerald. I am actually reading this book. This is the omnibus edition, so this is all 3 books. But yeah, and I'm really enjoying it so far. But yeah, this is literally my first one of the year, and I'm really, really enjoying it. Brittany Fitzgerald is just one of my new favorite authors as well. So yeah, definitely want to read all she has, but my library doesn't have that many. But they at least have the first 3 books of this one. So yeah. Okay, and my last kind of specific thing is these specific ebooks I want to try to get to. I actually have 13 of these instead of 12. I don't know why, but I just do. These are a combination of ones I've had forever and ones that I recently got. Let's see. One of them is Princess of Secrets by A.G. Marshall. I read the first book of this series, Princess of Shadows, last year, so I just like to continue that series. Another one is Torn Curtains by Tara Grace. This is like a free novella you get when you sign up for her newsletter, and I think it's like a Regency Beauty and the Beast retelling. Yeah, another one is Mirrors of Ice. I forget the author's name. I think it's Celeste Baxter. I don't fully remember. It is a Snow Queen retelling. The Witch's Tower. I don't have the authors written down for all these, so I apologize, but obviously when I read them, I will list the authors with them. The Witch's Tower, which I know is a Rapunzel retelling, but it's like where Gothel's a good person. So, I don't know. It sounded interesting. I got it for free on Amazon, so. Also, Shield of Shadow and Blade of Ash. This is, I don't remember the author's name of this one either. Or I remember part of it, but I don't know if it's the full thing. This is like I believe it's Christian fantasy. Either that or it's just clean fantasy. I don't remember. But yeah, this one's like the prequel. Shield of Shadow is the prequel, and Blade of Ash is the first book. Brambles, which is a, it's a prequel novella to Thorn, which I already previously mentioned, so I have the ebook of that one, so obviously if I read Thorn, I'll read this one. Dawn Song by Brian Shute, I believe is how you say the author's name. Another fantasy I've had for at least a year or two. Wow, I've had it that long? I might have had it longer than that. Some of these have been on here a while, which is why I'm just now getting to them. Also, Pumpkin Spice Pie Jinx and Vanilla Bean Vampire. These two are both written by Selena J. Ickhart. Like I said, not doing well with the names here. These are like cozy mystery with a paranormal vibe to them. So there's like fae and there's like sirens and vampires and there's different like creatures in this New England town. It sounded fun. I got the prequel, which is Pumpkin Spice Pie Jinx, and the first book. So last year. Fantastic Creatures is another one I want to read. This is like an anthology of short stories with fantasy. The Dressmaker Secret by Kelly and Roth. This is the only Christian historical on here, I believe. This is like a Christian historical. I think it's set in the Regency time period. I'm not fully sure, but I've heard a lot of good things about her books. And yeah, I just like her opinions on like reviews and stuff and her blog and things like that. So I just want to try her first book, and we'll see, because historical doesn't always work for me and Regency really doesn't work for me most of the time. So we'll see how this goes. And the last book, as the light is fading, because I hope this video isn't too dark, is Harbinger of the End by Nikki Chapelway. I really enjoyed, I think it was three of her books I read last year. I really enjoyed them, and Harbinger of the End is kind of her, it's her take on Norse mythology and Loki and like Ragnarok, which is like the Norse mythology's end of the world and stuff like that. So I really want to read that one, and I got it in an ebook sale around Black Friday last year. So yeah, I just really want to read that one as well. And then she's also publishing a sequel for that one sometime in 2023. So yeah, those are my specific reading goals and like certain books and stuff. Like I said, I may not necessarily get to all these. I'm not pressuring myself to. I will probably look through them every time I'm picking out books and be like, do I want to read this particular one today or this month or whatever? But I'm not holding myself to any harder and fast rules, because if I do, I will panic and not read any of them. So yeah, I'm very careful with my goals and stuff on that type of thing. So this is just like a list of things I would like to get to. If I don't, it's not the end of the world. I will probably most definitely get to Ilion Chronicles though, because obviously the last book is coming out, so I want to catch up on the series and kind of just refresh my memory and all that. So yeah, those are my reading goals for the year. I do know last year I did a video combining reading and writing goals. This year I am not doing a video on writing goals, at least at this time. I feel I should keep most of my writing goals to myself at this point in time. That could change in a few months or so if I feel like I should share them or want to or whatever, but as of now I am kind of keeping those close to my chest and being like, nah, I'm just going to keep these private for now. The only main goal I am going to mention about my writing is I am going to finish the rough draft of Creaturely Chronicles Book 3 in the beginning of this year. That is all I'm saying, but I am bound and determined to finish this rough draft so I can at least sit there and say, this is a mess, this is a disaster, but it's here and I can do something with it. So that is my main writing goal for the year. But not my only one, but I'm not doing a video this year because I just want to keep that private. So, yeah. I'd love to hear from you guys. Do you have any reading goals for this year or any other type of goals that you would like to share? Let me know down below in the comments, or if you've heard of any of these books that I mentioned and your opinions on them, if you've read them, if you haven't, and like if you know which ones I'm talking about, if you think I will like them or not, based on if you can guess my reading taste, because if you can guess my reading taste, good on you, because I cannot. So, I don't even know. I just kind of pick things and randomly I like them or I don't like them. So, yeah, and I will now go before it gets totally dark. Okay. Thanks so much for watching, you guys, and I will see you next time. Bye!